Part 66. Global High Martial Arts, copy SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Yunzhong Mu Shui. Chapter 651. Yu Yu hugged Lu Yu with great excitement and screamed. This scene attracted the attention of all geniuses and the general domain master. Lu Yu was a little helpless about this, but there was nothing he could do. And Lu Yuduo and Yu Yu didn't have to wait for a few words. The next moment, a black mist suddenly spread from the black hole. Hey, everyone is here. A figure came out. The next moment, the black mist turned into a human figure. At the front, a handsome young man looked at Yuan Xiao and the many geniuses behind him. At this moment, the atmosphere became quiet. Lu Yu even looked at the young man. Is this it? Lu Yu felt a very familiar aura. Forbidden territory. In just an instant, Lu Yu made a judgment. What just made him hesitate? What I perceive is a taboo area. But I don't know why, but I always feel that the other person is different from me. The front. Yuan Xiao's face was expressionless. Are you ready? Of course, we've been waiting for you cockroaches for a long time. The contempt on the young man's face was almost undisguised. Stop talking nonsense, they all come together. The young man stretched out his finger. Behind him, a man and a woman also had pride in their eyes. Hearing this, Yuan Xiao narrowed his eyes. Are you sure? Of course I'm sure, you may have never faced the gap. The young man's eyes became colder and colder. As you said. Yuan Xiao nodded. At this moment, he couldn't care less about using more to fight against less. At least, the probability of winning can be improved. In an instant, 20 geniuses came on stage. Yu Yu reluctantly stepped forward. Brother, I just took the first step, and I lost my temper. If I die here, no one else will know that I am dead. Yu Yu cursed and stepped forward. Counting him, there are 21 talents in the ring at this moment. On the other side, there were 3 people. The young man glanced at Lu Yu behind him and narrowed his eyes. What about him? He will not participate, Yuan Xiao said. No, I will participate, Lu Yu said. These words surprised everyone. Yu Yu was even more stunned. Dig. Feng Chu, are you coming to commit suicide with me? I love you so much. Different from Yu Yu's excitement, the chief territory master's eyes became confused. You want to participate too? Lu Yu nodded. But not now. I'll come on after they finish fighting. You're a waste of time. Hearing this, the young man snorted coldly and looked at the 21 geniuses in front of him. In this case, let's make a quick decision. The moment he spoke out, someone took action first. He is a very tall genius who wants to seize the opportunity to take action. But before he got close, he saw the young man stretching out his hand. The next moment, the burly genius seemed to be choked out of thin air, and his entire face turned red. The next moment, his head exploded and blood flowed out. There is no need for such ants to come. The young man showed a cruel smile and took the initiative. Boom! Black mist enveloped the entire arena. In an instant, a genius died tragically. It wasn't just him doing it. The man and woman beside him also took action at this moment. Without any resistance, all geniuses are being massacred one-sidedly. Only Yu Yu was fighting with a woman. Girl, please be gentle, you can't stand the spa service anymore. It hurts, stop messing with me. Although Yu Yu didn't seem serious, when the fight started, the woman couldn't do anything to him. Almost instantly, only Yu Yu was left resisting in the audience. Everyone else died in the hands of young people. Waste. The young man snorted coldly, and the next moment, an invisible field enveloped Yu Yu. A hand grabbed Yu Yu's neck out of thin air. No matter how much Yu Yu struggled, it was to no avail. All his moves were disintegrated the moment he took action, turning into pieces of law and passing away. You, forbidden territory, are playing tricks. You couldn't breathe, his eyes were bloodshot, and he cursed. How dare you, dare to fight me in a normal state? Ants, the power beyond the rules is not something you can contend with. Contempt flashed in the young man's eyes, and he was about to kill him the next moment. At this moment, a palm patted his shoulder. Beep, just pretend. Chapter 0493 Beep, what's going on? Beep, just pretend. Lu Yu put his hand on the young man's shoulder. The young man turned back and looked at Lu Yu with cold eyes. Are you here to die? I think this sentence suits you better. Lu Yu grinned, and the next moment, he punched the young man in the chest. And, you dare to take action? The young man laughed, and a terrifying realm instantly enveloped Lu Yu. That is a power beyond the rules, a power that does not belong to the level of Star-Lord. What the young man never expected was, Lu Yu was not affected at all. Boom. Instantly, he was punched away by Lu Yu and rolled several times in the air before stopping. Global High Martial Arts, copy SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Yunzhong Shui. Chapter 652. The young man looked at his collapsed chest with disbelief. Even though the injury was instantly healed by the black mist, there was still a tremor in his eyes. How did you do it? You don't need to worry about this. Lu Yu helped you up. You was completely stupid. You, Feng Chu, you actually became stronger behind my back. Awesome. Yu was overjoyed. He thought he was going to die. Unexpectedly, Lu Yu actually saved him. Okay, you can talk later, get out now. Lu Yu kicked Yu out of the ring. Yu fell to the ground in the air, then got up again and shouted excitedly. Lu Yu, come on. If you can't hold on later, I'll go up to help you. Let's fight in turns and kill him. Lu Yu didn't care about this at all, but looked at the young man. A faint light flashed in the young man's eyes. And beside him, the two servants were even more surprised. This guy, how did he hurt Lord Ji just now? The most shocked were Yuan Xiao and many general domain masters who were watching the battle nearby. There is something wrong with Lu Yu. Yuan Xiao frowned, and was in doubt. Really? Or, fake? He couldn't be sure. In the ring, the young man's eyes were already flowing with black light. To be honest, you surprised me. You can hurt me. Even if you are not a forbidden creature, it is enough to be intimidating. Even in our world, you can be called a genius. The young man smiled at Lu Yu. He didn't think too much. Could Lu Yu be a forbidden creature? Impossible. This universe cannot give birth to a being that transcends taboos in the rules. No need to question. As for the mistake just now, he has attributed it to his carelessness. This is not his arrogance, but the fact. Even in his own world, there are very few people who can be called young taboos, and they are all rare. After regaining his mentality, the young man's eyes turned cold. The vitality of cockroaches is very tenacious, but it is not indestructible. Are you ready to die? You keep talking so much nonsense, can't you take action? Lu Yu had a smile on his face. As a taboo, he is not inferior to anyone. The young man narrowed his eyes when he heard this. Very good, you really haven't seen the facts clearly, then die. A black mist suddenly appeared around the young man. The next moment, a terrifying aura enveloped Lu Yu. All the power of the law belonging to the Star Master level seemed to be solidified at this moment. Taboo field. The power beyond the rules binds the Star Master and everything below the Star Master. Before, 20 geniuses were killed by the young man in this way. Facing the taboo field, they were completely unable to resist. The star source power in the body, and even the use of the power of the law, were all stripped away. even lost control of the body, only consciousness remained, and was imprisoned in place. A sick smile appeared on the young man's face. If you don't enter the forbidden area, you will end up being an ant. Looking at Lu Yu standing there motionless, he walked over with a contemptuous smile. Behind him, the two servants looked in awe. This is the taboo. These cockroaches should die too. Outside the ring, Yuan Xiao's eyes dimmed instantly. Sure enough, he still had no power to resist. At the scene, the young man's nails suddenly grew longer. As a punishment for offending me just now, I decided to dig out your heart in front of you. What do you think? As he said, the young man's palm was about to press Lu Yu's chin. Snap! However, in the next moment, Lu Yu slapped the young man in the face with a big mouth. You've been babbling for so long, and you can't do anything. Lu Yu couldn't help it. This idiot started babbling as soon as he saw him, and now he finally decided to do something, and he even pinched his chin with his hand. I hate being pinched on the chin the most. The young man was stunned by the slap. He covered his face with his hands, his eyes were somewhat unbelievable. You are a forbidden creature, how can you survive with so much nonsense? Lu Yu became more and more angry as he thought about it, and kicked him again. I must kick you to death today. Pretend. You just love to pretend. Forbidden creature, weird offspring, right? You call me a cockroach, I will not kill you today. Lu Yu used his hands and feet to attack, and he was getting more and more angry. In these few days, I have not had a good life at all. I was worried every day, and now I am back, and you are still pretending here. I originally wanted to let you take action first to see what strength you have. But you came up and killed everyone in seconds. I endured this, and I went on the field myself to wait for you to take the initiative. But you are here to chatter with me to show your superiority. I can't stand it anymore. Lu Yu's attack was like a storm, and the young man was stunned. Really stunned. I haven't reacted yet. He could not imagine that Lu Yu actually broke free from the forbidden domain. How is this possible? The most important thing is that he can hardly fight back now. What's going on? And outside the ring, Yuan Xiao and even the other general domain masters were all at a loss. This situation, why is it different from what was expected? Why does that forbidden creature seem to be the victim? Yu was also stunned, and then jumped up. My brother is my brother, so fierce. Kill him. Beat him so hard that he can't get out of bed for 3 months. Yu screamed to cheer Lu Yu up. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Global High Martial Arts, copy SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Yunzhong Mu Shui. Chapter 653. On the stage, the two followers were also stunned. They never expected that their master, why did he suddenly lose the upper hand? Lu Yu was still punching. He had almost calmed down, but his offensive did not stop. Now is the best opportunity. Beat the drowned dog. But it was obvious that he was not the only one who calmed down. The young man was the same. Enough. Chapter 0494 Both taboos, beyond the rules. Enough. Boom. The black mist enveloped the young man, and the next moment, he turned into black mist and dissipated. When he appeared again, he was already standing 1,000 meters away. Looking at Lu Yu, his eyes were extremely cold. You are not an ordinary genius. Are you talking nonsense? I think you look like an ordinary genius. Lu Yu smiled. Seeing this, the young man looked at Yuan Xiao. Sure enough, you are still prepared, right? Yuan Xiao. Can I say that this is an accident? He really didn't know that Lu Yu actually stepped into the taboo field. But it doesn't matter now. I didn't know before, but now I know. Yuan Xiao chose to remain silent and didn't answer. The young man sneered at this. Very good. This surprised me, but in the same taboo area, there are also differences in strength and weakness. Yes, in the same taboo area, there must be differences in strength and weakness, just like humans. Humans belong to the eukaryotic domain, the animal kingdom, the order Hominidae, the order Stenorrhini, the order True Stenorrhini, the superfamily Hominoidea, the family Hominidae, the subfamily Hominini, the race Homo, the genus Homo, the subgenus Homo, the species Homo sapiens, model species. Among them, humans are divided into men and women are divided into children, adults, youth, middle-aged, and old age, and the same is true for women. Speaking of this, we must mention the differences in human society. Lu Yu talked for more than 10 minutes in one breath, until later, the young man couldn't help it. Are you talking nonsense? Didn't you talk nonsense first? Lu Yu looked puzzled. Yu was already impressed. I just checked the animal encyclopedia, and what Lu Yu said is true. The young man was silent, really silent. He couldn't see through what the guy in front of him wanted. He was very strong, but he didn't play by the rules. Since you are so anxious to die, I will help you. This time, the young man didn't say anything more. Instantly, the black fog enveloped the entire arena. Yuan Xiao's eyes were faintly worried. The other general domain masters were even more so. Especially the general domain masters of the super galaxy cluster. There was some horror in his eyes. This guy actually stepped into the forbidden area. Before they could think about it, the next moment, the war broke out. The black fog went straight to Lu Yu. It turned into a sharp sword and fell out of thin air. In response, Lu Yu had no expression on his face. Do you think it's really good to use the means of the Star Master to deal with a creature in the same forbidden area? As he said, Lu Yu waved his hand. The next moment, the black fog burst. This scene made the young man look ugly. Confirmed. The guy opposite him has definitely stepped into the forbidden area. With his eyes narrowed, he chose to get close to him this time. The law is useless, so let's compete with the body. This is a choice without choice. Unless they break through to the star level now, the law of the Star Master level will have no effect on each of them. Lu Yu laughed. Compete with the body, I'm not afraid of you. His body was just washed by golden blood, so Lu Yu was really not panicking. Boom. In an instant, the golden blood covered everything. The black fog was dispelled in an instant. You. The young man was shocked, but Lu Yu had already swung a punch. There was no way, he could only fight Lu Yu head-on. Boom. A silent sound sounded, the space was fluctuating, and it turned into fragments and flew away. These flowing space fragments, as if they did not exist, penetrated the bodies of the two. The young man spit out a mouthful of blood and flew backwards. In mid-air, he turned into black mist and disintegrated, and then condensed again. Looking at his collapsed chest, his face was a little cold. Your physical strength is very strong. Indeed. Lu Yu showed a big white tooth. Yu screamed. I was wondering why your tail grew in front of you, Lu Yu. It turns out that your physical fitness is so abnormal. Wow. Lu Yu. Please don't talk about this kind of thing here. The young man's eyes were extremely cold. The rules are useless, and the body itself is not the opponent of the other party. As for the consumption, it's a joke. They are all people from the entire field, and fighting for several years may not produce results. I really didn't expect that I could really encounter a creature that broke the taboo in this universe. You are very strong, I will let you die in a decent way. The young man suddenly took a step back, and a drop of black blood appeared in his palm. The black blood exuded an extremely corrupt breath, just at the moment of appearance. The whole world seemed to be shrouded in black mist. The endless black fog transformed into painful faces. The young man's eyes turned crazy. The blood of my ancestors can help me make further progress in this field. You are going to die. As soon as he finished speaking, the drop of black blood fell into his mouth. Global High Martial Arts, copy SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Yunzhong Shui. Chapter 654. In the universe, a wind suddenly blew. In the huge black hole of the wing angle, something seemed to be breaking free. The next moment, a black shadow emerged from the black hole and fell into the young man's body. Bo! There was a sound like something breaking, and the young man floated into the sky. Black lines shimmered and his eyes opened. Is the power of order really like this? He stretched out his hand, and black law chains suddenly appeared in the void. Clang! The black chain of laws headed towards Lu Yu. When Lu Yu saw this scene, he immediately dodged. Boom! In an instant, a big hole appeared in the space where he was standing. Space, can't even heal. Lu Yu's eyes gradually turned cold. This guy, what he just swallowed is not simple. The situation is a bit troublesome. The opponent's aura was rising rapidly, and Lu Yu seriously suspected that the opponent was about to enter the stellar level. Call out. The chain of laws was drawn again, and Lu Yu dodged. This time, the speed was a little slower and he was hit in the forearm. Suddenly, Lu Yu's blood boiled and his arm was bleeding. The young man laughed heartily when he saw this scene. That's all. Outside the ring, Yuan Xiao and others became anxious. The situation is not good. But there was nothing he could do to help. Yu Yu even wanted to end, but was stopped by Shi Lao, who suddenly appeared. This is not something you can be a part of. Lu Yu ended up because of me. No, he's for the entire universe. Shi Lao shook his head, with a sigh in his eyes. It's just that now it seems that this road will not work. They have already predicted the worst case scenario. These words made everyone including Yuan Xiao fall silent. They understood what he meant. Lu Yu probably has his own plan. But this plan was also within the expectations of those strange beings. The ancestors' blood was specially given to prevent Lu Yu from such an extremely accidental phenomenon. Yu Yu sat down on the ground, his eyes dazed. Doesn't that mean that Lu Yu's death will be in vain? At the scene, Lu Yu's disadvantage became more and more obvious. The other party's current state seems to have taken another step in this field. He tried to use the power of blood, but he didn't give him any plan to do it. Rely on the chain of law to suppress it. Are you going to lose? Lu Yu's eyes were in a daze. At this moment, the old man's voice sounded. You are such a genius, don't you know how to use your own power? How to use it? Lu Yu was confused. You yourself know that you are the one who broke the situation, and you have also stepped into the forbidden realm with your own strength. All the rules of this universe do not exist for you. He can hurt you. It's because you think he can hurt you. As long as you think he can't hurt you, you are outside the rules. The old man cursed loudly in Lu Yu's mind. Instantly, a light flashed in Lu Yu's eyes. Grass. I forgot about this. Everyone is beyond the rules. I am a time traveler and I am not within the scope of this universe. As long as I ignore these laws themselves do not exist for me. I'm stupid. Lu Yu's eyes burst into light. The next moment, he looked at the young man. The young man laughed angrily. You still won't admit defeat. Boom. The chain of laws came out again, but this time Lu Yu grabbed the chain of laws with one hand. I have tolerated you for a long time. Chapter 0495. The real taboo ends here. I have tolerated you for a long time. The chain of laws was caught by Lu Yu, and the young man was also stunned. This. Before he could react, Lu Yu grabbed the arm of the chain of law and exerted force. Boom. The chain of laws was waved by Lu Yu. Boom. The young man didn't have time to let go and was knocked to the ground hard. The whole arena was shaking. The young man vomited blood and turned into a black mist, trying to escape. But Lu Yu has been awakened now, how can he be given a chance? Condensation. Lu Yu roared. The power of law is boiling. In an instant, the black mist seemed to be imprisoned and could not move. What kind of power do you have? The young man's eyes became horrified. He didn't expect that Lu Yu could fight back against him. Lu Yu didn't say anything to him. He appeared in front of the young man in an instant, and his big palm of law condensed and patted him down. Laws are of no use to me. The young man roared, but he hadn't finished speaking yet. The next moment, the law's big palm struck, and he turned into black mist again and collapsed. This time, he finally broke free. It took him more than 10 seconds to regroup his figure, which made his eyes look horrified. The injury on his body has not healed. How is this possible? You are not a creature of this realm. The young man looked at Lu Yu with shocked eyes. Lu Yu had no expression on his face. I had gone into a misunderstanding before, and my habitual thinking had misled me. Fortunately, the old man woke me up. My own taboo area is completely different from this guy's taboo area. He has truly transcended his own taboo area. Everything so-called Star-Lord level does not exist at all in his eyes. Global High Martial Arts, copy SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Yunzhong Mu Shui. Chapter 655. Because, I myself do not belong to this world. I am not a product of rules. In the same realm, who can restrain himself? On the other hand, young people. His so-called taboo realm is just a certain degree of detachment. What he transcends is just the rules of this universe. But I am beyond all rules. Overriding his rules. Everything in the same realm, in my eyes, is actually, just flashy. Lu Yu felt the almost omnipotent feeling in his body, and his eyes burned with fighting intent. Now, how do you want to fight? You. The young man coughed up blood. He couldn't understand. How did this guy do it? It's not just him. Yuan Xiao and others were also stunned. Lu Yu, is this the time for a comeback? This. His forbidden area seemed to be different. Yuan Xiao was the first to see the problem and said to himself. When the others heard this, their eyes became more horrified. Is it possible that the so-called taboo areas are different? Yu is already as strong as chicken blood. Feng Chu. Come on. Hum this bastard to death. On the stage. The young man's eyes flickered again. Impossible. The Lord has given us power beyond imagination. The young man was roaring. The black mist on his body instantly surged out, and black flames were burning all over his body. Not only that, the two attendants fell to their knees in an instant and turned into black mist and merged into the young man's body. You can never imagine how great the Lord is. The young man was half kneeling on the ground, and a breath appeared again in the black hole at the corner of his wings. The breath came and blessed the young man. At this moment, his aura seemed to have reached its peak. It has exceeded a certain limit, as if it is no longer at the level of Star-Lord. I feel the call of the Lord to me. Bone spurs were growing on the young man's body, and his face was blurring and filled with black mist. Finally, it turned into a face with only eyes. Boom. The black mist swallowed everything. The flesh and blood on the young man's body seemed to have disappeared, leaving only white bones. Only the glow in those eyes was even worse, like a ball of beating flames. Behind him, a figure slowly condensed out. You really pissed me off. A hoarse voice came. Seeing this, Lu Yu narrowed his eyes. Good guy, are you ready to fight for your life? Without saying anything, Lu Yu stood there and stared coldly. The next moment, black mist surged, and the figure bombarded him. Die, cockroach! The young man's roar came out. But Lu Yu stood there without making any move. Boom! I'm afraid the power is tearing apart and everything will collapse. The laws turned into fragments and the space collapsed. Even the arena that Yuan Xiao had condensed with his own strength had cracks at this moment. Power beyond rules. Yuan Xiao said to himself. If it weren't for the power beyond the rules, it would be impossible for the arena he created to have cracks. The other general domain masters were extremely nervous at this moment. Lu Yu, can you stop me? And Yu Yu's eyes almost widened. Boom! Terrifying waves erupted, and a destructive aura swept over everything. The black mist almost erodes everything. In an instant, a figure flew out upside down. This is all you can do. Lu Yu walked out of the black mist and looked at the young man with a faint gaze. For him, no matter how many methods the young man uses, they are all useless to him. Taboo, untouchable. His taboos were given. And my own taboos are truly broken by myself. The nature of the two is completely different. The young man fell to the ground, and the black mist silhouette disintegrated and turned into his flesh and blood again. His eyes were filled with horror. What kind of existence are you? He couldn't believe it. It's really unbelievable. Why can't I hurt him at all now? How could this be possible if they are both taboo? Lu Yu looked at the young man and walked over step by step. You think you and I are the same kind, but we are not. Do you understand? Lu Yu looked down at the young man, not worried at all that he would attack and kill him. The power you call is only given to you by your Lord. Do you understand? What you call taboos and what you call transcending the rules are just the rules he set for you. Do you understand? And I am truly beyond his rules. Therefore, in my eyes, there is no difference between you and an ordinary genius. Lu Yu's words were like a heavy hammer, completely destroying the young man's last vestige of faith. His eyes were crazy. No way. You are lying to me. The Lord is omnipotent and omniscient. Die. He burned himself again. Flesh and blood disappeared, even the bones disappeared. Only the pulsating light was left. A giant black hand appeared and strangled Lu Yu. Seeing this, Lu Yu didn't make any move and just stood there. The moment the giant black palm came into contact with Lu Yu, it collapsed. There was no movement at all, just like bubbles. And Lu Yu also stretched out his hand to stop the faint light. In the firelight, there was a face full of fear. Lu Yu smiled. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Global High Martial Arts, copy SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Yunzhong Mu Shui. Chapter 656. Guess what, if I kill you, can your so-called master save you? No. The face was distorted, but Lu Yu clenched his palms instantly. Boom. At the moment when Lu Yu clenched his palms and was about to kill the young man, a terrifying breath suddenly swept out from the black hole. That's it? Chapter 0496. The strange giant made a move, a drop of blood. That's it? Along with the sound came a figure like a demon. Located in the center of the black hole, although it has not walked out yet, that kind of aura has already caused the void to collapse. There is no doubt that this is definitely a strange giant on the other side of the Great Wall. Ancestor, save me. The young man was overjoyed and asked for help. Yuan Xiao immediately tensed up and came to Lu Yu's side. What do you want to do? Yuan Xiao also released a breath. The figure in the black fog did not even look at him, and said calmly. It's over now. Let him let go of my offspring. This is impossible. According to the agreement, you can't. Poof. Yuan Xiao hadn't finished speaking when a breath of air came down instantly. It was as if the entire universe had overturned, and unimaginable power fell on Yuan Xiao. He didn't even have time to react before he was seriously injured on the spot. Ants, you can only obey my decision. The strange giant said indifferently. Yuan Xiao was furious when he heard this. Before he could speak, Lu Yu took a step forward. You want his life? Lu Yu raised the young man in his hand. The young man shouted. Ancestor. Seeing this, the strange giant finally looked at Lu Yu. You are a very powerful genius. You are indeed extraordinary to be able to enter the Forbidden Realm. Now, release my offspring, and I can spare your life for now. Don't be funny, you talk like farts, you say one thing in front of me and another behind my back. You just broke the contract and now you are telling me this. Lu Yu laughed, and then clenched his palms in front of the strange giant. Swish. The figure, like a flame extinguished, the dim light dissipated. The figure of the young man disappeared and turned into fragments. It was deliberately torn apart by Lu Yu again and rolled into the broken void. Sorry, my hands are shaking. Silence, silence. Even Yuan Xiao was stunned. He didn't expect that Lu Yu would just kill him like this. Really kill him? Afraid of not dying thoroughly, he forcibly shattered all the soul fragments. Even like scattering ashes, scattered into the turbulent flow of the void. At this moment, there was a dead silence. Yu Yu swallowed his saliva and couldn't help biting his tongue to prevent himself from screaming. Too humming cruel. In the black hole, the strange giant was silent for a long time, and finally looked at Lu Yu. You are very bold. I can't help it, you are too fierce, and you scared me so much that my hands are shaking, so I am dead. But you strange beings are so powerful, isn't it easy to resurrect one person? Lu Yu looked apologetic. Hearing this, Yu Yu couldn't hold it back any longer. Feng Chu, you are so cruel. I can't help but want to sing a song for you. Anyway, we are going to die together, and it's over. The guy on the opposite side is so angry that he is black, ha ha ha. Yu Yu laughed wildly, highlighting the silence around him. At this moment, the breath of the strange giant suddenly enveloped everything. The tens of thousands of light years around seemed to be isolated from other spaces. An extremely terrifying breath enveloped everything. If that's the case, then let's all die. If you really dare to do it, aren't you afraid of backlash? Yuan Xiao looked at the figure again. The so-called backlash will not affect the process, but he will. The demon-like strange giant's eyes fell on Lu Yu again. The forbidden creature must be killed. The strange giant is breaking free from the black hole. It seems to be restricted by something, and the endless chain of laws is pressing on it. But it is tearing these chains of laws. Boom. The space is shattering. Yuan Xiao saw the scene and his eyes were horrified. He looked at Lu Yu. You can go. He could see what Lu Yu wanted to do. Now, what he had to do was to help him delay as much time as possible. Lu Yu looked at Yuan Xiao and nodded in silence. Thank you. You're welcome, I'm just doing this for the entire universe. Yuan Xiao tore a space crack in the void. Leave here, don't let them find you. Yes. Feng Chu, Yu Yu came over. He looked at Lu Yu, said nothing, and hammered him on the chest. That's awesome. I have no regrets for seeing what a real forbidden area is. You can go now. No need to say anything more to me. Yu Yu didn't say anything nonsense, and pushed Lu Yu into the space crack. In the black hole of the wing corner, the strange giant was roaring. Die. He stretched out his hand, and a ball of black mist rushed out of the black hole and came towards Lu Yu. Yuan Xiao saw this and instantly met him. Go! Yuan Xiao burst out with brilliant light and helped Lu Yu block the attack. But soon, he vomited blood and fell down. At this moment, the 9 elders of the Zero Association appeared at some point. Let's go, Yu, you go with Lu Yu. Bang! Global High Martial Arts, copy SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Yunzhong Mu Shui. Chapter 657. This time, the black fog was blocked. One after another, painful faces appeared on it, ready to break out of the blockade with their fangs and claws bared. The strange giant was roaring. Ants, do you really think you can stop it? Above his head, a bloody magic sword appeared at some point. The moment the magic sword appeared, all the chains of laws that bound it were cut off. A giant hand crossed the black hole and headed towards Lu Yu. Including Yuan Xiao, the elder of the 9-0 Association, instantly spit out a large mouthful of blood. The light dimmed and life and death were unknown. And around Lu Yu, all space was instantly solidified. Dead end. Looking at the giant hand that was about to grab him, Lu Yu's eyes became a little dazed. The past scenes flowed in front of him. From the joy of copying the SSS-level talent when he first arrived at Blue Star, to the sadness of Xiaoling using his living expenses to exchange for spirit crystals. And then the excitement of becoming a certified warrior. Everything around him seemed to stop at this moment. It's over. 1 against 5, I can't hold on any longer. Just when Lu Yu was about to close his eyes, a drop of golden blood broke through the void and landed on his forehead. Boom! The divine blood is burning. Congratulations to the host, the development of the divine blood has reached 100%. Chapter 0497 The Emperor of Man appears, the battle of gods and demons. Congratulations to the host, the development of the divine blood has reached 100%. The moment this voice sounded, golden blood and chi burst out from Lu Yu's body like an ocean. The entire universe, as far as the eye can see, was instantly covered. Lu Yu was bathed in golden light, he could sense it. The drop of golden blood seemed to have unlocked something. His own blood was burning uncontrollably, extending this golden ocean to a farther place. Boom! A heavy footstep sounded at some point. A figure seemed to appear in the golden blood and chi. With each step, as if traveling through years, a vast and boundless breath descended upon this world. The space was frozen at some point, and the giant hand that tried to wipe out Lu Yu could not get close at this moment. The figure approached, but his face was still blurry. A layer of chaotic mist permeated his body, and he was shrouded in golden light, and he was extremely majestic. Everyone was stunned when they saw this scene. What is going on? Even Lu Yu himself was stunned. His bloodline was out of control again. In the black hole, the giant hand was blocked, and the weird giant roared. Playing tricks, die. The chain of endless laws was broken at this moment. A rotten, black blood-dripping giant hand came towards Lu Yu again. At the same time, in the golden ocean, a bright hand suddenly stretched out. Boom! The two giant hands clashed, and the fluctuations were too terrifying. The world seemed to be opening again. Countless laws were fighting, and the space was tearing apart. The vision was shocking. One could faintly see the destruction of one star after another, with the divine light shining brightly. Swish! In this collision, the flesh and blood on the black hand kept falling off. And the golden giant hand, the light was getting brighter and brighter. Boom! Finally, the black hand retreated. In the black hole, the eyes of the strange giant, who was like a demon god, flickered with a faint light. Human Emperor, are you back again? No response. In the golden ocean, the figure was still trudging. The last time he attacked, he just paused for a while. The strange giant's eyes turned cold. Fuxi's heaven has collapsed, what's the point of you resisting stubbornly? Ha ha ha. The strange giant laughed and attacked again. This time, its body finally broke free from the black hole completely. With the bloody magic sword to help it resist the chain of law, it can attack without restraint. Boom. This time the power is even more terrifying. The black fog enveloped everything, and the world seemed to have lost its light. And the next moment, the golden light shone out again. That figure also made a move. He had walked a long way in the golden ocean, and was about to come. Boom. The world-destroying fluctuations were spreading. The space of billions of light years was shattered in an instant. The law could not even be repaired. Two figures like gods and demons fought together. Just the fluctuations made Yuan Xiao and others vomit blood instantly and almost died. Lu Yu was protected by the golden light, but he was not in danger. He stared at the figure in the distance in a daze, somewhat unbelievable. What is this? Sure enough, he still has a backhand. The old man appeared at some point, standing beside Lu Yu, stroking his beard and looking at the distance, as if he was going to destroy the universe. Lu Yu heard this, his eyes were a little unbelievable. Backhand. The human emperor, still has a backhand? And this backhand, is it me who is carrying it? The divine blood in my body may have been left by him. At the critical moment, can it be guided back? Is this the real body of the human emperor? Lu Yu couldn't help asking. No, the old man shook his head. Part of his power is stored in your body through the blood, and it can play a role at the critical moment. It means that this is still not the real human emperor. Yes, the old man nodded, looking relieved. I didn't expect this guy to have some skills, and part of his power can actually fight against the weird giant on equal terms. The old man's words made Lu Yu fall into silence. This is not the human emperor, then where is the real human emperor? I don't know the answer to this question, old man. The old man shook his head. Lu Yu sighed and looked into the distance again. Global High Martial Arts, copy SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Yunzhong Mu. Chapter 658. The strange giant seemed to have fallen into a disadvantage. It was roaring and snarling. Impossible. This is clearly not your true body, how can it be an enemy of me? Black mist appeared on the strange giant again. Its flesh and blood were rotting, and its power began to rise. With one punch, all the light in the universe was absorbed. The Protoss is a thing of the past, only the Lord is eternal. The strange giant punched out, but even so, it was still blocked by the vague figure. With a light blow, the strange giant's arm was cut off. Black blood dripped, and the space was corroded and disappeared. The strange giant was extremely angry. What did you do? This is not your strength back then. Must die. The process cannot be interrupted. The strange giant stretched out his hand. In an instant, the bloody magic sword that was originally resisting the chain of law appeared in his hand. The next moment, he stabbed the magic sword into his heart. Sacrifice everything and pray for the power of the Lord. Accompanied by the strange giant roaring. The next moment, the magic sword was pulled out. Drops of crystal black blood rolled down from it, as if it would never dry up, full of evil breath. Wisps of black mist entangled it, and the body of the strange giant disappeared and turned into black mist. And this black mist condensed into its body again. At this moment, an aura that was almost reaching its extreme appeared on it. The advent of the new world is unstoppable. You all will die. The magic sword was swung. Even if the target was not himself, Lu Yu felt that his whole body was cold and his consciousness was chaotic at this moment, as if he had died. At this moment, the bronze ancient sword appeared at some point. Whoosh! The next moment, the bronze ancient sword appeared in the hands of that figure, bursting with brilliant light. Boom! A sword was swung out. A feeling of everything being cut off appeared in everyone's heart. In the dark, Some kind of cause and effect seemed to disappear at this moment. No. The strange giant burst out with the strongest breath. The sword light of the bloody demon sword was wiped out, and it seemed that only a thin golden light remained between heaven and earth. The next moment, the head of the strange giant fell off. The body turned into black mist and disintegrated. The endless chain of laws fell, and the black mist evaporated and disappeared. Everything has just begun. Once the process begins, it cannot be stopped. You are just struggling in vain. A cold voice came out from the black mist. The next moment, it will disappear in the black hole. But at this moment, the figure is moving. Boom. The golden blood flooded the entire black hole, blocking the strange giant's way back. Do you really want to fight to the death? The strange giant was cold and gloomy. And the next moment, the golden blood flooded it. Kill me. This universe will pay an unimaginable price. Chapter 0498 The message left by the human emperor in the age of God break. Tisk. Even though the strange giant was roaring and roaring, that figure still did not show any mercy. The black fog was quickly wiped out. In just a moment, the black fog disappeared completely. Dead. Everyone looked horrified. The strange giant was killed so forcefully. Lu Yu was even more stunned and muttered to himself. Is it over? But the result was not so. The black fog appeared again in the black hole. I never thought that you were still alive. A voice came from the black hole. I can't come in person now, but do you think it has any meaning? The figure did not speak, but turned his back to everyone and faced the black hole. He took action again. The extremely bright divine light was shining. Hundreds of millions of light years away, the Great Wall was shaking. The majestic Great Wall moved. With a loud bang, it crossed billions of miles of starry sky and fell over the black hole. Boom! The black hole disappeared, as if it was annihilated. At the last moment, a cold laugh came out. Delaying death is meaningless. The advent of the new world is unstoppable. The surroundings fell into a dead silence. Only the Great Wall remained above the original black hole. Suppress everything. The figure disappeared, tearing through space. On this day, all black holes in the universe with diameters larger than the galaxy cluster disappeared inexplicably. The original position was replaced by the Great Wall. Some people claim to have seen giants carrying planets on their backs, repairing and connecting the Great Wall. At the same time, there were many speculations about what had happened in the universe during this period of time. But in the end, there was no result, and most of the public opinion disappeared. Lu Yu left. Yuan Xiao and other general domain masters looked at him with horror. At the last moment, they clearly saw. The figure turned into golden light and dissipated, pouring into Lu Yu's body. For these, Lu Yu did not explain much. He embarked on the journey back to Orion College. Yu Yu originally invited him to play, but was rejected. Lu Yu was in a bad mood. He could see the joy on Yuan Xiao and the chief domain master's faces. This matter should be solved for the time being. But, only for the time being. Lu Yu was not sure what would happen in the future. The entire universe seemed to have undergone some changes. The most important thing was. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Global High Martial Arts, copy SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Yunzhong Mu. Chapter 659. The Emperor left him some messages. This made Lu Yu even more worried. On the boat. Lu Yu looked around and frowned. The old man appeared at some point and looked at Lu Yu with a smile. The era of God's breaking has begun. What's the meaning? Lu Yu looked puzzled. The old man glanced at him. A new era has begun. Isn't it time for the new era to begin long ago? Lu Yu said. Hearing this, the old man shook his head. No, the human emperor still had the power to remain here, so it was still the era of the eighth heaven. Now, the last of his power is used to suppress the black hole, the portal through which this strange existence comes. Therefore, a new era has begun. The old man's words made Lu Yu think deeply. God's breaking era. The name is really good, but the situation is a bit bad. The power of the human emperor has disappeared. I feel that this era will not last long. Isn't this also you? The old man smiled. Lu Yu shook his head. I feel like I'm not good at it. Damn. The humming human emperor has been hiding his backhand for so long and fighting for you for so long. You tell me you can't do it? The old man jumped immediately. When Lu Yu heard this, he couldn't help but ask. How long can it be blocked? They can't get through the black hole for the time being. They can only come from the Great Wall. On the other side of the Great Wall, including the Great Wall built during the Moon God Heavenly Court period, there are 9 Great Walls in total. 9 Great Walls. Lu Yu looked horrified. The old man snorted coldly when he heard this. Nonsense, every generation of heaven has built the Great Wall. Every time it is built, our universe is shrinking. According to the progress, I'm afraid that by your generation, there will be no chance to repair it again. Lu Yu. He fell silent again. How long can the 9 Great Walls last? If the situation is good, it will be no problem to survive tens of thousands of years, the old man said. When Lu Yu heard this, his eyes lit up. Tens of thousands of years, I am sure. No matter how outrageous the next realm is, I still have the confidence to go up. What about the bad situation? Lu Yu asked again. Hearing this, the old man smiled and held out a finger. 1,000 years, Lu Yu asked tentatively. No, the old man shook his head. I said less than a year. Lu Yu. He was completely silent. After seeing the real gap, Lu Yu felt that he couldn't do anything in 1 year. There may be something even more terrifying behind the so-called weird giant. At least so far, Lu Yu still doesn't know who the real enemy is. This point was also mentioned in the words of the human emperor whom I had seen in the Shenxiao mirror before. The real enemies are not those outside the Great Wall at all. Too deep. The water is so deep. Lu Yu expressed a little despair. The old man glanced at him and smiled. If it doesn't work, just go back with me and hide. Lu Yu didn't say anything. The old man snorted coldly. You're not happy to be told to hide, but you don't dare to go up and do it. What do you think you're good for? Lu Yu. You really don't feel pain in your back when you stand and talk. The old man glanced at him. The human emperor didn't leave you anything else. Keep it? What? The old man's eyes became curious. Seeing this, Lu Yu hesitated for a moment and then said. A coordinate within the Great Wall. No more. There is none left. Lu Yu shook his head. Hearing this, the old man pondered for a moment. I think it would be better for you to go over there. You might get some unexpected results. Well, I'll go take a look. Okay, the old man has gone to bed. If you really can't do it, just come and accompany me to take care of yourself in old age. After saying this, the old man disappeared. Lu Yu sat alone in a wooden boat and headed towards Orion College. On the way, his eyes were thoughtful. My plan failed. It can't be said to be a failure, it's just that I didn't expect the human emperor to have a backup plan. This second move once again bought myself some time. But Lu Yu didn't know whether this time was enough. He is now only at the Star-Lord level. Even if it breaks through to the star level immediately, it is still too far away from the realm where it can really work. In the end, what to do? Lu Yu sighed. The coordinates left by the human emperor are in the Great Wall. And looking at the location, It's the real Great Wall. I'm afraid it will take quite a while to get there. The point is, there are too many dangers within that Great Wall. He must be prepared and go see Xiaoling again at the same time. Lu Yu had a premonition. The human emperor asked him to go, and once he went, it might be for a long time. Chapter 0499 Returning to Orion College, why is it you again? Orion College. It took Lu Yu half a day to arrive here. Looking at the familiar continent, Lu Yu stepped in. Lu Yu was still greeted with shocked looks. I lost it? Lu Yu is here again. Lu Shen is here? I want to take a look. Ah, it's really Lu Shen. I don't know how many Orion College students were excited. Global High Martial Arts, copy SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Yunzhong Mu Shui. Chapter 660. Especially those who were in the same grade as Lu Yu, they were extremely happy. In response, Lu Yu responded with a smile one by one. Obviously, the people in Orion Academy didn't know what happened recently. In fact, it's not just them, the whole universe is almost like this. Most people don't know what happened. Life is just like usual. Finding the small courtyard, Lu Yu walked in. Mu Qing was not there. Lu Yu thought about it and waited here. An hour later, Mu Qing's figure appeared in the courtyard. Lu Yu. Mu Qing was a little surprised. She didn't expect Lu Yu to come back again. Soon, her expression became a little worried. Lu Yu, did something happen? As a Yuanchi strongman, although Mu Qing didn't know what happened, he could sense some things that others couldn't sense. In response, Lu Yu nodded. Something happened, but it didn't have much impact. Lu Yu still didn't tell Mu Qing frankly. These things, speaking out, have no other effect except to make Dean Mu Qing and others more troubled. Hearing this, Mu Qing didn't think much about it. It's good that you're fine. The problem should be solved, right? Come and sit down. Mu Qing brought a small stool. Xian Xian happened to walk in. She was very surprised to see Lu Yu. Lu Yu. She hurried over and looked at Lu Yu with a happy face. I heard that you came last time. I was quite sorry that I didn't see you. I didn't expect to meet you by chance this time. Yeah, Vice President Xian Xian, long time no see. It's really been a long time. You are now a Star Master. Xian Xian looked Lu Yu up and down and was very satisfied. Mu Qing laughed. How about Lu Yu, do you have time this time? Yes, Lu Yu thought about it and said so. Soon, Xian Xian called all the elders of the Orion Academy over. When the elders saw Lu Yu, they were all very surprised. No one expected that they would actually see Lu Yu again. In the enthusiastic chat, Lu Yu met Hong Fei. Suddenly, he shut up. When the elders saw Hong Fei, they smiled meaningfully. Ha ha ha, I have something else to do, so I'll leave first. Me too. Unfortunately, I have a stomachache, so I'll leave first. In an instant, they left together with Mu Qing. Hong Fei stood there and looked at Lu Yu, with a cold face and no expression. Lu Yu, what are you doing back again? Can't I come back to Orion Academy? Lu Yu smiled. After a moment of silence, Hong Fei turned and left. Let's talk about it when we step into Giwan. Lu Yu. Lu Yu pouted and said nothing, and went to the palace where he used to live. There was no one in the palace at the moment, and Lu Yu was familiar with the place. Before he walked in, he heard a little strange sound. He used the eye of divine vision to investigate without hesitation, and in an instant, Lu Yu saw something that made him gasp. A man and a woman were on the roof of the palace. This scene was so familiar. Lu Yu thought of the first time he came here. It was the same situation. Looking at their faces carefully, they were the same couple as before. Good man, it's been so long, and you are still here? Feeling unhappy, Lu Yu climbed onto the roof. At this moment, the young couple was hugging each other passionately. Seeing this, Lu Yu patted their shoulders. That's about it? Male? Female? Without waiting for their reaction, Lu Yu kicked them away. Next time you come, I'll cut it for you, Lu Yu said viciously. What if this kind of thing is seen by his sister? After cleaning up the two, Lu Yu went back to lie down comfortably. While lying, Lu Yu thought about the problem. He must go to the Great Wall. But what if he doesn't get anything if he goes? According to what the old man said, there are probably more things left for him than he imagined. And they must have come from the Great Wall. By then, I'm afraid that even if I want to hide, I can't hide. Difficult. Lu Yu had a headache. After waiting for a while, something finally came from outside the door. Doralala Zioxy, let me tell you, I found my brother's collector's edition disc today, the one with color, let's watch it together later. Ah. Colored. Sister Xiaoling, what color? Of course it's the color you want. This is not good. What's wrong, anyway? My brother doesn't know, he secretly watched it himself. As the voice fell, the palace door was pushed open. Lu Ling saw Lu Yu with a black face. Ah brother, why are you here? Lu Ling said, quietly retreating. Lu Yu sneered, walked forward and grabbed Lu Ling's ear. What did you say just now? Collector's disc. No, what disc? I don't know. Lu Ling shook her head quickly, looking at Lu Yu with tears in her eyes. Lu Yu snorted, ran to the bedroom where he lived before, and punched the wall to break it. As expected, the safe he had hidden inside disappeared. Lifting the bed, Lu Yu successfully saw a safe with a missing combination lock. I'll give you 3 seconds to quibble. Brother, listen to me, it's really not like this. It was the wall that spit out the safe on its own. It happened that these discs had been stuck in it for so long and they wanted to come out for some air, so they removed the combination lock themselves. It's true, brother, you believe me? Lu Ling blinked and looked at Lu Yu. Lu Yu smiled when he heard this. Where's the CD? This, here. Lu Ling took out a box. Lu Yu frowned immediately when he saw it. Why are there only 3 left? How is this possible?